nothing wrong with being financially successful, but understand what is the reason behind making a lot of money. Is it for the freedom and how it allows you to impact the lives of others, or is it to go buy more material things? Neither one am I going to say is right or wrong, but just make sure you understand, why are you chasing it? Because I think inevitably, what I do believe is if you can chase your passion, even if it's not your profession, you will be rewarded financially to support it. If you chase your purpose, even if it's not your profession, you will be rewarded financially to support your purpose. If you chase your profession simplistically for monetary gain, you will likely achieve that in some way or another, but you will likely lose who you are in the process by chasing the what. And so just be really, really careful with what the intent is.
Good. What do you wish you had known 10 years ago that you now know?
I wish I would have known how shame impacted me in my own life, how it impacted my relationships, how it held me back professionally, how it made me pull the throttle back and not live as big and audaciously with who I am. And I wish I would have known that. But on the flip side, I also believe that everything happens for a reason when it's supposed to happen. And perspective points us to what's important. So though I have the hindsight to recognize now how I potentially could have been more free had I been able to understand toxic shame, how it showed up in my life, and how to manage through it, both in a work environment as well as in my life personally, I also don't know that I would have had the perspective, had I known about it 10 years ago, to truly appreciate how much more free I am today, having put in the work to do it. So I'm going to talk out of both sides of my mouth on that, because I would have loved to have that clarity then, but I'm not sure I would have appreciated it as greatly as I do now.
Of everything you've done in your life, both personally and business-wise, what are you most proud of?
I'm really proud of how I have shown up, continue to show up, and continue to evolve to become the best husband and father that I possibly can be. That only happens by my ability to be the best version of myself. But I am most proud of the relationship that I've been able to build with my wife, the trust, the communication, the surrender, the conviction and belief we have in each other, and just the deep bond that I know is going to carry us for years to come. But I'm also extremely proud of how that relationship has allowed me to also be the best father, to give my kids with special needs the man they need in the moment, the father they need in the moment, and to be able to recognize the high level of awareness areas I need to constantly improve and evolve. But things as little as my son wanting to have the permission in life to be able to walk around proudly with a mohawk and not feel like the world is judging him or shaming him because that's what makes his heart happy, and knowing that despite my own inability to let the world see me for who I am in some ways in my history, to go and shave my own head into a mohawk to give him that push and permission, I couldn't have done that 5 years ago. And I'm extremely proud of how I show up and can continue to evolve in that role.
How long have you been married?
10 years.
If you could hold on to one memory from your life forever, what would you hold on to?
I don't have a singular memory that I would choose to hold on to. I think I'm going to say that I choose to remember feelings. And they're tied in multiple scenarios, but there have been moments with my wife and my kids that we just have absolute joy, no tension, complete freedom, and laughter and love that's just seeping out of the situations. We've been able to replicate that numerous times, but those are the moments that I'm going to choose to hold on to and remember forever.
Because your business is so intertwined with the way you live, what has been different about your life or your business than what you had imagined it would be?
I've never believed in work-life balance because I think inherently you set yourself up for failure by viewing it that way, because that implies that there needs to be equal time or equal attention or equal energy put into different areas of your life that are important. I instead believe in work-life integration. And it's only since I executed my buy-sell and left my old world that I've started to actually see what that can be. And so, for example, when I used to work in the traditional corporate type structure, even though I was a partner and had complete flexibility and autonomy, and my schedule was my schedule, and I could come and go as I pleased, and I could take vacation whenever I pleased, and all the above, I still operated traditionally within the structured corporate world of working of normal working hours. As I've ventured out and been on my own completely, though I have clients, though I have business partners, though I have associates, I'm able to see more flexibility in the way that we can structure our life. And so it's not about working Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. It's about making sure that I move the things that are important in my life forward. And that might mean that on a particular Tuesday, if my kids have off school, I will block my calendar, and instead of focusing on just the weekend time that I get with them, being able to go and ride bikes with them, or knowing that my daughter has something every single Friday that I need to leave the house at 3 p.m. that alleviates burden on my wife because of the time and the commute, but it's also intentional time with my daughter. What surprised me is it's more difficult to have a fluid, integrated life, but also easier to have a fluid, integrated life if we can just surrender to the process than I would have anticipated. So where I felt like I used to have to force and time block, now I'm able to really just be where my feet are and be present in what's right in front of me, and that's a pure blessing.
I'm going to ask for something for me and my audience, a freebie word of advice. What is a generic piece of advice you could give all our listeners about how to handle their situation during this pandemic?
The pandemic knocked us all out of autopilot, and it forced so many of us to reevaluate life in every situation. When I say autopilot, it's how many of us would wake up and we'd go through our normal morning routine and we'd get to the office and we'd forget what happened in the prior 3 hours because it was so regimented and routine. The reason that we have so much mental health issues on the rise, the reason we have domestic violence issues, the reason suicide rates, murder, all of these things are on the rise is because people are not understanding how to deal with this. So first we have to recognize that our mind processes 11 million bits of information per second, but we're only consciously aware of about 40. So what that says, to even the point of being an autopilot, is that we're largely led by the unconscious, which is why so many people feel like life is fate, like they're a victim, like they have no influence or control over their destiny. And there isn't a single person on this planet that I've asked if they desire to have more influence or control over their life, the direction of their life, their destiny. There's not a single person that hasn't raised their hand and said yes. And so we have to go through a process of moving the unconscious to the conscious, the unaware to the aware, so that we can take back influence and control in our lives and feel like we actually, it's not like we're not a victim, like we have ownership and control. And so there's a very simple process I want you to walk through. I want you to create 2 lists. The first is a list of the people, things, situations, and sources of knowledge, whether it be TV, podcasts, music, social media, sources of knowledge that exist in your world that give you energy, that make you feel like who you are, that make you feel energized and uplifted, that might have 8 hours go by and seem like it was only an hour, that get you into your flow state, feeling just free. Make a list of all of those things. Then make a second list of all the people, situations, sources that leave you feeling depleted, unworthy, unappreciated, leave you feeling drained completely from your energy, that 1 hour feels like 8, not the other way around, that just feels like forced and painful and suffering. We know how we feel in both of those scenarios. Try to systematically remove as many things from the negative list and move them to the positive list as you can. Even if it means eliminating or removing things from your negative list, which might mean people, situations, jobs, sources of knowledge. An example is I haven't watched the news in 5 years because it leaves me feeling negative. It doesn't give me anything additive in my world. It only takes away. If you make those 2 lists and you focus on spending more time on the positive side and less time on the negative side, you will start to feel more free and you will start to be able to navigate this pandemic much more effectively.
How can people get in touch with you?
Yep, go to brianbogert.com. It's Brian with an I, and it's Bogert.com. What you'll notice there is a whole lot of information about who we are as an organization, the types of things that we do. But when I said earlier that we plan to impact 1 billion lives over the next 25 years, what that also means is that we're very aware that 99.9999999% will never pay us $1, and we're very okay with that. So we create a lot of free content in written articles, in videos, in different ways that just genuinely elevate and empower people. So if you go to the site, you'll notice that all of our social handles are there, at Bogert Brian on pretty much all of them. Feel free to consume, take whatever is going to add value to your world. And one additional offer that I'll give, if you go to nolimitsprelude.com, it's a succinct download of a lot of our coaching philosophies. So if you have no idea who you are, you think you know who you are, you're somewhere in between, this will be a valuable resource for you. And again, if it's all you need from us, take it and run. The only thing I ask is that if you see or consume anything, that you share it with someone that it might impact their life, because the only way to get to that billion is to have more eyeballs and collective impact together. So if you take anything and you don't need anything further from us, by all means, take it and run. If there's another area that we can help you further, please let us know, and there's contact information all on the site.
Thanks for listening to Our Town Live, and don't forget to subscribe and give us a review.